Today I talked about glyphosate-resistant weeds, and in particular we were talking about Palmer pigweed and common water hemp. Again, these two pigweed species are our predominant pigweed species here in southeast Missouri, as well as across the river and across our state lines in Arkansas. So it's become one of our super weeds that we are dealing with, our growers are dealing with each year. And with the rise of glyphosate resistance, we're relying on products that are in the PPO family of herbicides and in the Ignite Liberty Link soybean as well. So our list of post-emerge products is relatively short. So we talked about stewardship today of those products and utilizing them as tools. In particular with Palmer pigweed and water hemp, the concept of zero tolerance. So we have eliminate the pigweed out of the field to reduce the seed bank, because one of the weaknesses of Palmer and water hemp is they have a very short seed life. Typically 5 to 6 years maximum. So if we can eliminate the seed production in the field, then that will help eliminate or reduce the population that will take away yield from our growers. So that's one thing we talked about. The other is when we utilize herbicides, we should utilize different modes of action. So we talked about rotation of crops, rotation of chemistry, and twofold reasons. One, we don't want to develop resistance in the short list of products that we do have available to us, and it also helps with, again, that cultural practice of reducing that seed population. Then we also talked about today timing. Herbicide timing is essential when we're talking about post-emerge products. These products need to be going out early. So we need to be scouting early and getting out in the field looking for those 1 to 2 inch tall pigweeds to make that application call for our PPO and Ignite products, because both of those are contact herbicides. So we need to get out there early with these products. The other thing we talked about is overlapping residuals. So we want to utilize pre-emerge as either a burn down with a residual or a true pre behind the planter. We want to utilize residuals. And then if we are coming back with a post, we need to utilize again another residual, be it the residual component in the PPO post-emerge product, or if we're in an Ignite Liberty Link system, utilizing a residual tank mixed with the Ignite. So we want to the concept of zero tolerance and overlapping residuals, scouting early, getting out in the field, and applying our products post-emerge as soon as possible. So not waiting for everything to come up. So we don't want to get it back into the habit. Even though with the product like Ignite, that's a general broadleaf and grass herbicide, it's timing sensitive. So you need to utilize scouting as best as you can for our post-emerge products. The other thing that we talked about is with all this new technology, we do want to be mindful of our neighbor, and we do want to avoid any potential drift. I know things can happen. With contact chemistry, we need to understand our product. So if we do see a small amount of drift, typically with a contact, it will grow out of that. But utilizing best management practices to avoid resistance and avoid herbicide drift is a good plan. The other thing that we discussed today is the utilization of as many resources as we can. So have a backup plan, because things can happen. And Palmer, being a very aggressive and fast-growing weed, you have a limited number of days. Typically, 1 to 3 days is your window for application. So utilize other resources. If you know you can't get across all of your beans in that amount of time, then you need to have a plan, and things happen. So you know, have plans and have things lined up for the season.
Take-home message.
Take-home message today would be that our growers, you know, utilize scouting. You know, utilize good weed science principles of getting out there early, scouting, looking at your crop, looking at your weeds, identifying your weeds properly, because if we're dealing with contact herbicides that specifically target certain weeds, we need to know what those weeds are. And then also, in addition to scouting, you know, we need to also be good stewards of our products, because there are a limited number of them available for our Palmer pigweed in particular, and water hemp. So we need to be good stewards of those products, make sure we're rotating them, rotating our crops, and just being, you know, taking care of what limited resources we do have in our weed control fight.